Today I want to show you how to create a chat application using React.js and Node.js on the backend, and I have leveraged an API called Chat Engine. So this is what you're going to have on the chat application. You can either create a user. So if a user is not available, they'll get created. You can search for users to chat with, and also you can have the various conversations. So you can have the messages there like hello brother, this is my brother's account, and then you can reply to them. Let me just open another window here and just open that application and go in as Bill, so we see his messages. So I've just texted him here, hello brother, well, and this is real time. So if you look at this on this other end, Bill has just texted me, I am well. So let's see how we can build this very quickly. So let's go ahead and create the backend. So just close this and close that. Let me cd out of that and just create a directory here. Call it, let me call it chat app. No, let me call it React chat app. And then let me go into that and let's open that on another tab. So we can close this one, and here we go. So from here, I need one folder here, call it backend. So we're starting with the backend. Let me open my terminal here. There are a few things that I will need to do. First of all, make sure you have Node.js installed. Let me go to backend, and all I need to do to initialize my app is npm init. So ensure you have changed to the backend repository, and then just npm init, and then the package name, I just need it to be that version can be 1.10. So this is React and Node.js chat app. The entry point is index.js, so that's okay. And then the git repository, all these can be okay. Author, can put my name there, Gitonga Breton, and then license, that's okay. And then if this is okay, press yes. So on backend, we should now have a package.json. So you can see the main is index.js, and then description, and then who is the author. So there's one thing I need us to install on this application, and that is Nodemon. I need also us to, so Nodemon will be on development, but these others will be on what do you call it? They will be dependencies that we use on the application. So npm install, I'll need cause because we need to communicate to the external server, that is chat engine. And then I need .env because of my environment. You'll need an API key from chat engine. You need express, this is a HTTP server, and then you also need Axios for our endpoints. So I think that's all we need from that end. So after that is installed, I need nodemon. So npm install save dev, and then nodemon. Let's see. So this is a development dependency. So as you can see, these ones will come to dependencies, but then for nodemon, I expect it to go to dev dependencies. Let's just install that. So that is done, and you can see this has come under dev dependencies, and these others are on the dependencies that will go to the application. So let me increase the view here a bit. The first thing we need to do, because we have installed nodemon, is we need to change these so that it reaches out to nodemon, or nodemon restarts our server once we do this. So these scripts here, we can change this to start, and then you can remove this, and let's have nodemon and then index.js, and that should be that on that. So you don't need to change anything else there. And then we need an index.js, which is our main file, and we can go directly into the code. So first of all, we'll need the express server, or the HTTP server which we'll be using, which is express. So express, and then where do you import it from? Import it from express. So that's good there. And then we have the cause. So all these you need them. So I don't want to come back to it to do the imports. So I just want to finish up with them. And then finally, I'll also need Axios here. So Axios here, we need the default, and then Axios. And then where am I getting this? This I'm getting from Axios. Yeah, that's done there. And then for .env, because we will have a .env file, this is how you pass in the env. Because, for example, if you push your code to GitHub, you should not push your environment file, or you should not push the API keys that are secret to you, because that will be an issue. And then let's now create our app, and that app will be created through Express, which is our HTTP server. And then obviously, because we will need to use Express, and we'll also need express.json to do this, and then also cause, to avoid the issues with cause. If you have done development for a while with React and Node.js, you can tell there's a lot of issues, especially if you're communicating to an external server. So this one we will have to put the origin here. True. And for the setup, I think we are done. So we need an endpoint that we will call to authenticate our users, and these will be app.post. And then what is the endpoint? The endpoint is authenticate. So that is our endpoint, and then it's an asynchronous function. So we'll have the request and the response, and then we'll have an arrow function, and we can now go ahead and put our logic here. So of course, with chat engine, we'll be able to get the username. So let me just pass this here. So I'll have the username from the request dot body, and then we'll have our try catch block, so I can use that there. And then so in the try catch, in the try block, we'll have our response from the server. So response, and then obviously an await, and here is where we use Axios. So Axios dot put. So let me just show you something here. So this so that you don't wonder where I'm getting it from, is from chat engine. Let me find, so this is my application. Just go to find chat engine.io and create an account. So this is what I'm referring to. Find this chat engine, just type chat engine, and the first link that comes there, that's what you use. So I want us to just go to chat engine and then find the REST API. And on users, if you look at users, this is how you create an user. So we have this endpoint here, not here. So this is what you'll use, and then this is how you create a user. And these are variables that require username, first name, last name, secret, and then the JSON there, get users. But for us, we'll be using get or create, so that if the user is not available, because I'm assuming that this is for you and your friends, or this is a portfolio project, you can either create the user, get the user. If the user is available, get them. If the user is not available, create them. So this is the endpoint that I'll be using, so that you don't wonder why I just came and started creating a post request here, and then using Axios to put data into the other end. So I hope that is clear. So the URL, this is the URL we'll be using. So this, as you can see, is a put request. So there. So once you have that, what data are you passing into the API? Of course, you are passing a username. Of course, you're passing a username, and what are you getting from that? That's a username, the username that we got from the request body. And of course, as you can see from the API, you have the username and you have the secret. but for me, I also went ahead and passed the first name. So because you can see the JSON. Let me just show you that. You can see from here, you have a first name, you have an email, you have a last name. So if you don't pass this, they end up as empty strings. But I wanted to just pass them for demo purposes. So let me come back here. So a username, I'll need my secret. So my secret will also be my username, and then of course my first name is first underscore name will also be my username. So you can just experiment with it, and also you have the headers, of course. So I need to have that there, and then I'll have headers here. So headers, what exactly do we need from the headers? We need a private key. I'll show you where we put this private key. So for a novel or a new developer, what they do is they place the private key here. But for us, I do not want us to do that because we have .env. What you need to do is just .env, and then let's create. Sorry about that. Let's go ahead and create a .env here, and then just uh, have this here. So chat underscore, we'll call it chat underscore engine underscore private key private sorry private key. So this is what I'll call it here, and then have it there. So where do I get this? So go to chat engine, make sure you create an account and then create a project. So on project settings, you'll have this private key here, and then we can just copy that. So that is what we need from there. So that is how you will send the request. But after sending the request, you expect it to return something for you. So of course, we'll need to return a response dot the status. Also, we need the status. So response dot status here, response dot the status we get back, and then of course we need it in JSON. Then response dot data, response dot data. And then for the error, of course, I need to know in case something went wrong. So response dot status as well. So it's a similar thing to what we have there, but it's the error dot the response dot the status, and then we have our JSON there. Then error dot response dot my data. So that is all. So this is the API endpoint that we will be using to authenticate our users. That is either get a user or create the user. And how do I make the app listen to a particular port? So we can go with no, let's just use 307. I think I have something on 301. So that should be our backend. So let's see if this runs. So we'll just confirm if it's starting out, and then we will sort the issues because it's a pretty small application. So I'm not expecting. So sorry, I did not change to backend. CLS here, and then npm run start. So I'm expecting to see things with the node mode. So as you can see, the server is starting out. But let's create the front end next, and then we are able to see if there is an UI on top of this. So we have just run the backend. So let's go ahead and create our front end. So you can just open a new tab here, leave the backend, and then we are going to be using Vite.js. So just type Vite npm and go to getting started with Vite. So you can go through the documentation and just learn what you're doing, but this is a command I want. npm create Vite latest. So that's what I want. The project name, just call it front end. Of course, I'll be using React. Of course, I'll be using JavaScript, and we should be good with that. So if you come to the front end here, you can see all the Vite.js assets and all that stuff. So let's go ahead and do a bit of customization first of all, I just like to confirm. So React and React DOM have been installed, but I need two things. I need Axios and I also need React Chat Engine Pretty. That's what I'll be using for this project. So let me go to front end and then just npm install. What do I need? I need Axios and I need a React Chat and then engine Pretty. So those are what I need for this, and you can just check out React Chat Engine Pretty. I can come here. I think it opened my history, which is all right. So no, this is the advanced one. We are not using the advanced. I'm using this other one. So let me go back. So here, yeah, this will give us how the various things. So project ID, the username, the secret, and all that stuff. So as you can see, this is what I have done. So let's go back and see if this is done. So it's not yet done. So that has completed installing, and I can just close this, come here. So on app.css, I first of all want to remove everything, and then you can go to my GitHub. So you can go to my GitHub and on repositories, just a moment, and repositories, just find chat app, and then on front end, and then app.css. Just pick all the CSS that we had there and copy that. So that's all the CSS you'll need. There's not much I have done here. It's just the labels, the subtitles, the background, and all that. So you can feel free to customize it as you'd like. I'll remove everything on this app.csx. Can remove everything there. I'm coming back to it. Don't worry. On main, because we're using WebSockets, we'll need to remove the strict mode because that will cause us an issue. And I think that should be that. No, we need to remove this index.css. We can delete that. Doesn't add anything to us. But there's one, yeah, I think that doesn't add anything to us. But that's okay. I don't need this. I don't need the white logo. I don't need all that. So let's get started. Of course, on the app, there are two things that we need. We will need a user who is either authenticated or not authenticated. So that means we'll have an authentication page and we'll also have the page that I showed you with the chats. So let's go ahead and create or check if we have that user and then create the two pages. So first of all, I'll need to come here and just create the dummy pages. So this is my authentication page, page.jsx, and then I'll have a chat app page. So it's called chats page.jsx. So I'll have those two pages. Let me see if I have ref. No, I don't have that plugin installed. So I'll just let them be as they are there. And then let's go ahead now and just check the user. So user, and then of course we set the user. So the user will be set. First of all, it comes as it's undefined. We don't know who the user is at that particular point. But if I can actually remove this, don't need it here. If we do not have a user, we expect this to return the authentication page. I hope you are getting what I mean by this. We are expecting this to return the authentication page. I think I'll have to just create the page here. There's a plugin that I usually use, but I can't remember the name. So first, of course, Auth Page. I just want to have something here, Auth Page, and then of course you'll have the arrow function, and then you will have that, and then I'll have prototypes on this. There's a lot that will go into this, so just allow me to have a paragraph here. Paragraph here saying auth. So that is what I expect to have on this, and of course I need to export this, and then export auth. It's default auth page. I missed that. Export default auth page. Then I missed that. So we'll come back and just create this as need be. So auth page. So that's what I needed to import there. So what you're saying is, if we do not have a user, show me the authentication page. And then there are a few props that I'll have there. So let me just close that there. So this is what we do on authentication. So this will come from this will come as, what do you call it, as a prop onto this page. So then who is our user? And then the other prop that we need on this is, of course, we will need, if on authentication we don't have the user, we create the arrow function, and then we set our user to user if we have the user. I don't know if I have made sense on that. So we're saying if we don't have the user, return the authentication page, and then the user that we get from the authentication page is what we set as a user. For example, you saw me put in Gitonga, so once I put in Gitonga, that is what becomes the user. But now let's say we already have a user. So in this case, let me just copy this. So this is the charts page. Don't worry, we'll come back and create them. I just want charts page. That's okay. And then that's the chat page, and then we have charts. That's good there. And then we have charts page as usual. Let's close that, and then we will have the same on this, because what do we need on the charts page? We need a user only. We don't need anything else. We just need the user, so that we find out what messages has this user sent. So with our app.jsx, I think this is complete. So if you don't have the user, go to the auth page, and then on authentication, the user that we get, set that as a user. On charts page, if you already have the user, check their charts and all that, or everything else. So this is right here. So I think we start with the authentication page, because that's the first page that we have. But before that, let's just run this and see. It might be npm run dev. So for assets and things like that, you will get them from so this should show auth, because that's the page that gets rendered, because we do not have a user yet. I hope I had closed these others here. Let me close this one. Yeah, that should be auth page. So that's okay. So let's create our authentication page. And as you can already guess, I'm sure you know we will need, first of all, props. And there's an issue I faced, and I'm going to show you that issue, and then you guys can look at how you're going to sort it on your end. So first of all, I need props. I need my props here, and then these props are what I'll use for my on submit page. So I don't think I should create the on submit function before I create my page here. So let me go ahead and create a div. Create a div. So the div will have a class name of my class name should be background. So remember the CSS that I sent you, or I asked you guys to just copy. So the background, and then I'll have a form here. So this is my form. So on the form, I expect an on submit function. Sorry, expect. Let me just remove this on submit. That's it, and then on submit. That's how what I'll call the function there on submit. So we can actually create the function now, so we don't have that error. Const on submit. I think that's what I called it. And submit, and then it's an arrow function. Sorry, it's an arrow function. Yeah, it's an arrow function, and then of course I need to prevent the default behavior of the form, because this is a form. For some reason my tabbing is not working. So prevent default, and then of course we will need the value that comes in the form, and then of course e dot the target, and then we'll have the first value in the target, and then of course Axios. I'll need to import Axios here. Import then we have Axios, sorry, from Axios. So that should be good. So import Axios from unexpected. I think this is no. I'm the one who did some bullshit here. It should be like that. So Axios dot, is it a post request? Yes, it will be a post request. So Axios dot post. Which URL is this going to? Remember, we created a backend. So, and because it's not deployed, it's on local host, and then port 3307. I'm sure that's what we used, and then our endpoint was called authenticate. So the post request will go to that endpoint, and then what does this endpoint expect? It expects a username, and the username is in our value. So after getting after getting this, what do we need to do? Then of course we will have a return. You can call this anything you want, and then we have our props dot on authentication. Sorry, on authentication, and then we spread this data. So let's spread this, and then we'll need a secret, or the secret that we also passed. Remember, while we were doing that on the auth page. So that should be done, and then of course if we have an error, we will need to catch it. So for this one, I'll just console.log in case I have an issue. And you can already see from the props I have an error here, and you can already see that, but I'll show you how I was able to sort that, though it should not affect the running of your application. So let's go back and create our form very quickly. Class name will be form card. That's what I called it. And then inside the form, what do we have? Of course, we have what you're seeing. the div there with the emoji. I think it's this one, but it has a class name as well. The class name I gave it was the form title, and the form title. So that was the form title, and then I have another div here, and this div is for the text that you're seeing. Enter your username. The class name here is, what did I call it? Form subtitle, I think. Subtitle. So that should be okay. And then finally we have our last div. Our last div. This should be the authentication bit. Class name auth. And then I have a label inside this div. This is the label for the username, and I should call it class name auth, and then my label. So that's what I have there, and then I have my input. So that's my input. I have a class name. I call it auth input. Then what value do I have on it? Name is equals to username. Then finally I have a button. So this is just basic CSS. Enter. Its class name is auth button. Then the style, because it's a submit button, this is a form, so we need to submit the form. So with that we should be good, but as you can see here we have this error. So how do I sort this error? And if you look at the code in the repository, you'll be able to see how I was able to sort that out. So I went into getting prop types. Types from prop types, and then so after importing the prop types, this is what I was able to do down here, so that we have those prop types, let's say defined, so that the application will be able to acquire them, but it's not really anything that affects something. And I also made an error here. I used prop type, but it should not be prop type. It should be the prop type we just defined at the top there. And then what else? We need the prop that we have, and the prop was called on auth. And then prop types dot it's a function, of course, and is required. Could not define prop types. Do you mean prop types? Yes. This is another small error. Yeah, I meant that. And you can see now our error has disappeared. So you can see on auth no longer has the issues with the props. So it's just something that I decided, let me just go over and above and see if I can sort that. But you don't really need to sort it out. So that is the authentication page. So let's confirm if the application is working. And as you can see here, we have that. Let me go in Bitonga, enter. So yeah, I should see chats. So that means our authentication page is working correctly. So let's finally create the chats page. So for example, I can go in as Bill, and you can see we don't have a chats page yet. So come here, chats page. This is a chat page. So of course we need only one thing from here. We need to put in our div. So I'll need a div there. What class name do I give it? This should be background. And then we'll need to import pretty we installed it pretty chat window. That's what you called it. I don't think it has been auto imported, so import just pretty chat window from from it's called React chat engine pretty, so that should be good. And then, as I showed you, there are a few things that you need to pass through it. So you can see the project ID, the username, the secret, and the style. So here we go. So for us, I'll not want us to pass these details the normal way. So we'll need to have here, we'll need to have .env file, which we will add our detail here. So project ID. So the project ID, instead of having it as a string there, you will have to import .meta. So this is how you do it on white.env. I think for those who have looked at the bank or at the what do you call the backend, this is not what we did, but it's all the same. So white chat engine project ID. I like naming them correctly so that somebody can understand what exactly we are doing. So I need my ID here. Let me just come here, project settings, and then just copy this. So that's good. So we have the project ID. We need the username. The username will be, of course, we need props here. I forgot that, which causes the same issue we had on auth, but this one I'll let you guys look at it and see how you can be able to sort it yourself. Props that user dot username, because it's a user that we are passing back. I think I made a mistake here. There, so that should be there. Yeah, so this issue is caused by what I was telling you guys. So secret, and for the secret also comes from the props dot user dot secret. So exactly, so if you look at not this but the charts app, you get the user. You look at the auth, you get the user. So here, this is the user that we're using from the props. We have the user and the username and the secret. So I think for this page, it's as simple as that. Let's see, but make sure you sort this issue. It's sorted similarly to how we sorted this with prop types. So make sure you go and look at that. So let's see here. So let me go in bill, and here you can see you have the chat now, and you can be able to chat. Let me go to my incognito. So that's what I was telling you. It doesn't affect that error doesn't affect the rendering of your page, but I would like you to sort it. It's always good to have a clean code. So we can search for new users here, but let's refresh this and create a new user called demo. So this user is called demo. He doesn't have any chats, and let him start a new chat with Gitonga. So you just add there. So chat engine makes this very easy. Hello Tonga, have you subscribed to the channel? Then I send, and we go to my incognito. You can see now I have a new chat here, and yes, I have. Let's see, should be real time, so you can see the replies are going up and forth. And that is how you create a chat application very simply for you and your friends, that you can use incognito and that you can use for even your portfolio. You can showcase to friends and anyone else who wants to see your skill level. So this was a very basic application, and make sure you can go implement other things on it, and just go and try out things. And please go to gitongabreton.com and put in your email to access our newsletter once we release everything, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Bye bye, guys.